And the esteemed guests from the Hamilton City Council and the gentleman back there in the public gallery. We'll get underway with our council meeting for the 18th of December 2025. We did open the workshop with the karakia, so we'll let that run and we'll get the closing karakia after we finish this meeting. So our first item up today is our deputation from the Hamilton City Council. So I'll get Sue Moroney and Sarah Thompson to come forward.
Good morning.
Good morning, councillors. So we've given you 15 minutes as part of this, so potentially maybe a 5-minute presentation, and then that gives us 10 minutes for questions. We're in your hands. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. 15 minutes is very generous. I thought it was 5, so we'll still be concise anyway. Good morning, everyone. I'm Sarah Thompson. I'm a councillor at Hamilton City Council and chair of our Infrastructure City Delivery Committee.
Good morning, everyone. Sue Moroney. I'm a newly elected Hamilton City Councillor for the East Ward, and just like to congratulate you all on your election or re-election to council. We're all in that phase, aren't we, of coming off the hustings and focusing on the work at hand. Kia ora.
And congratulations from me as well. We haven't had a chance to properly meet all of you yet, but I expect sometime early in the new year, hopefully we'll have the chance for our councils to get together and properly get to know each other. So thank you so much for the opportunity this morning. Hamilton City Council has been a supporter of Te Huia for many years now, and our most recent formal position as a council is in support of Te Huia. I do need to note that our submission is today we were not able to have time to take it to a formal council meeting for our full council to vote on it. But based on informal discussions across our councillors, the majority of councillors were in support of the letter in regards to the extension of the trial service. Hamilton has been a very supportive partner of Te Huia to date, and one of our biggest contributions has been the investment in the Rotakoti Transport Hub. So Hamilton put in 10.5 million and Waka Kotahi New Zealand Transport Agency put in 18.5 million to build the Rotakoti Transport Hub, where the majority of people are getting on and off Te Huia, and that also serves the bus services now as well. That transport hub was in a master plan, but it would still not be built to this day, most likely, if it was not for the need to support the Te Huia service. So while it does have a use beyond the train services and being a hub for the bus services as well, there was a decision made to bring this investment forward to support the startup of Te Huia. And there were also other investments made along the way to support this, including upgrades in the surrounding roading to the transport hub and some investment in doing up the Frankton station to ensure that it had accessible toilets and paths and things like that. Take them there.
Sure. So thank you for the time to be here. We do have significant skin in the game with Hamilton City Council with this initiative. And that's primarily because over the years, the City Council has seen the importance of having a really fit for purpose transport network between the largest city in the country and the 4th largest, but the fastest growing city in the country. In fact, depending on how you look at Wellington, we could almost call ourselves the 3rd largest city in the country at times. So it makes complete sense that we've got a complete ability to have different choices that people can make for public transport. Now, some of you may not know of someone who, around this table, you may not know of anyone who uses Te Huia regularly. From today onwards, you can say you do. I'm a regular user of the Te Huia service. I use it in my capacity as CEO for actually probably the largest law firm in the country for community law. So I'm required to have meetings in Auckland frequently. And if it's in central Auckland, I use the train. And I use the train because it's actually cheaper. So that's an important thing to consider when you're thinking about cost of living. It's actually cheaper than paying the petrol to go backwards and forwards and the parking and all those things associated with it. But importantly, I use it because I can get a lot of work done on the way up and the way back. I can get all my emails done. It's great for the productivity. I can't do that in a car. I can't do that in a bus. I can only do that on the train. So I'm one of those 270 people every day that is using this service. And I look around and I see great diversity in all the other passengers on that service. So some of them are like me, they're business people getting work done on the way to meetings. Others are students, others are older people, some are foreign travellers who expect to actually be able to get on a train and travel to places when they arrive in New Zealand. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of a flavour as a user of the service, what that looks like. But also remind you that part of what we're here to say in our submission is that this is part of the economic development proposals for our region, and in particular, the small towns between Auckland and Hamilton, but yes, Hamilton itself. So I know that some of you, we talked about hustings before, some of you on the election campaign were saying that you wanted to see more stations along the way because you do understand the importance of actually that development of those populations and the proximity to a fit-for-purpose transport network, part of which is Te Huia. Look, it's not a competition between the expressway and the train. Because when I'm on that train and I'm not using my car, I actually make it easier for people who are using the expressway because my car's not on there causing congestion. My car, along with the 56% of the other passengers on that train who said that they would be using a car otherwise, is not creating further maintenance issues. So it all works together. These are things that complement each other, not things that compete with each other.
We'd also like to emphasise, in terms of process, we really support the letter talking about the need to take any significant decisions around the future of Te Huia to a long-term plan decision. In local government, as you all know, the long-term plan is really where we make those big decisions that impact significantly on the services that we provide to our community. That's where we do our strongest and most extensive consultation with our community. And it also would give us an opportunity as Hamilton City Council and Waikato Regional Council to get fully on top of the data to date and also the business case work that's happening. Our councillors, 7 of our councillors are brand new, and we're planning a drop-in session for our councillors early in the new year on Te Huia. So it gives us time actually to work collaboratively and collectively around the future of Te Huia, as well as ensuring that we make the right decisions in the right place in terms of the long-term plan. So we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for your time this morning. We're looking forward to continuing to work with the Regional Council in partnership. Public transport and erosion control and stormwater are probably the areas where we collaborate the most. And yeah, we look forward to setting up that joint public transport subcommittee and getting that going and ensuring that we've got a good plan together in terms of strengthening our public transport within the region. Thank you.
Thank you, councillors. I'll go to questions, but I'll just remind councillors that please keep your questions to the presentation today. We will just be discussing this letter later on in our agenda, so I'm not looking for any debate or any statements. It's questions on the presentation that we've just heard from Hamilton City Council. So I'll go to you, Chris.
Thanks, Chairman. Warren. Sarah, you mentioned you're going to have a discussion in City Council at some stage, so you haven't had a formal vote. Will you be having a formal vote on yes or no for Te Huia after that discussion?
So any formal vote would most likely come if there is a decision to be made. For example, if there's a need to endorse a business case or we'll take a vote when there's a requirement to do so in terms of any decision that is coming to Waikato Regional Council where we may need to have a view on a submission, for example. In this case, we only found out this decision was coming to Regional Council late last week. And so it was too late for our Thursday council meeting to bring something to it. But as chair of our City Delivery Committee, I did call every single elected member and work with our chair and mayor and deputy mayor, who mayor and deputy mayor were very much in support of this, and a large majority of elected members, but not everyone, were also in support of the trial extension, because they saw actually it would be the intention was to have 5 years of data and to allow it to operate for the 5 years. And so that stays true to the original intention from our council to support a trial and our position to date. Yeah.
Thank you. My next question is for Sue. As a regular user of the service, are you aware of the cost to Hamilton ratepayers at the moment per passenger, how much the subsidy is?
Oh, look, yes, and all forms of transport are subsidised. So this is the issue, I think that's quite important about Te Huia, is that there is much greater transparency around the cost to the ratepayer of this service than any other form of transport that we all fund. So I don't know how much I'm paying as a ratepayer for, bus route number 8, but I do know how much I pay as a ratepayer for the inter-regional passenger service. So I think that is really important in this debate, is understanding that there is a much greater level of transparency around this than any other form of transport. I don't know, for example, I couldn't even tell you how much I pay as a taxpayer and a ratepayer towards maintaining the expressway or constructing it. I honestly don't know that figure. But there is a great degree of transparency around this.
So can you tell me how much we're subsidising you every time you travel on Te Huia then?
I think the subsidy is in the level of around about, no, I'm not going to do that off the top of my head, because I know how much I pay in the rates bill. That's what I know. But I was also, I don't know how much,
All right, don't worry.
I don't know how much you're subsidising me to drive my car on a road that I've paid for.
That's the question, but that's all right.
But that is my answer, is that all forms of transport actually do have a subsidy. This is no different. The only difference is that we can see it really clearly on our rates bill.
Okay, and my last question, which I take from Sarah's comments, that you're not aware of the future costs associated with. They are very substantial.
Yeah, so we're aware that there will be a need to invest in rolling stock, for example, in the future. And that is something that we will, because we need to stick largely to what our submission is. Our submission is very clearly limited to the trial extension. That is what I got support for from our councillors. And we very clearly agreed that we would have a discussion as a council about the future of Te Huia and have a formal view on that. But at this stage, I'm here to support the trial extension to have close to that 5 years of operating time for the service. So, yeah, I am aware there'll be future costs, but actually I'm here to present this. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Gary Raymer.
My car subsidises your car by an average of about $600 a year, which is my average subsidy for cars on the road. Not my question. My question is, how much of your decision was based on sunk capital, and and there's a risk, you spend $10.5 million, which in your submission today, your discussion today weighed pretty heavily on your discussion, and the risk is that we just continue a trial based on some historical spending without knowing the future spending as well. So, is there two parts of that? What's the wisdom of that decision then?
So the trial was always intended to be 5 years, and that's what everyone in this partnership signed up to. And we do emphasise in here, this is a partnership between us, Waikato District Council, Waikato Regional Council, and New Zealand Transport Agency. And all of us have invested into this trial. So So the intention has always been to have the data from 5 years of the service operating, and I think also when you look at the significant disruption, as was raised in a letter to the Transport Agency, on the lines up in Auckland and the disruption that's been caused with track closures, we haven't been able to see Te Hui actually operate with the best conditions available and in the most recent year. So this also allows us to see the impact of the enhanced services, which are excellent on the Sundays, without all of the disruption with the unreliability of these track closures that have happened in conjunction with the works happening in Auckland and the City Rail Link. And we're also expecting to see the City Rail Link open halfway through next year. So there are benefits in seeing this trial through to its expected kind of period, given no one could have controlled COVID at that time, and the fact that it was delayed for that year. And that gives us
I'll
an
stop you there,
opportunity to answer.
Sarah.
Yeah.
Because we have seen that articulated in your letter,
Yeah.
and all councillors have seen your letter of support.
Yeah.
So I think you have clearly articulated the reasons for support
Yeah.
this trial extension and at the 60% FAR. Really quickly to wrap up, Angela and then Liz.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. And yeah, my comments are different to what's been said so far. Yeah, thank you, Sarah and Sue, for coming in today to yeah, acknowledge the partnership that we do have between our two councils. And I was just actually speaking this morning with my Deputy Chair of the Internal Transport Committee to talk about that partnership and how we can work more closely with you as well. So yeah, thank you for your letter, for your acknowledgement of infrastructure funds that you've already put into the service. And for myself, being a member on that working group for the startup of Te Hui 2 triniums ago, your two councillors and staff were incredibly passionate about the service, getting it up and running, seeing it go out to the airport, making improvements as we went along, as the customers gave feedback. So just really want to acknowledge that partnership and look forward to working closely with you in the new year and around all things transport.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Liz.
Yeah, look, thank you for coming to see us today. It's lovely to see you both. Look, my question is just around the declining sort of patronage that we're seeing on Te Hui. If we were to agree that we would have a further year extension, how could we work with the city to increase that patronage? What suggestions? I mean, are you open-minded around how you might contribute to assisting regional council with increasing the patronage? Because I think that's all we want to see, are more bottoms on seats, essentially, right?
Just at the outset, look, I would acknowledge that despite some of the things that have been outside of everyone's control that have got in the way, including the track closures over the last year or more, the patronage numbers have exceeded the targets that were set. And I think that's, it's really important to acknowledge that, because that was based on a really solid business case about those targets. So despite all the things in its way, it is exceeding the targets. Can we do better? Yeah, absolutely. And certainly what I can say as a councillor around the Hamilton City Council table is that I would be wanting to argue for everything that I could to ensure that this is a fit for purpose transport network in total, so that people actually have really good choices about the networks that they use for the reasons that I outlined before.
Okay, look, I'm going to wind it up there. Thank you. We have been even more generous than our time. So
wow, 15 minutes was generous. Thank you.
yeah. Thank you very much, councillors, for your attendance today.
Thank you.
It is something we'll obviously be discussing later on in our agenda. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, and wishing everyone a lovely Christmas as well. Thank you.
And same to you and your families. Right, we have no apologies, so we'll move on. Next item up is confirmation of the agenda that's before us. Thank you, Katarina. Thank you, Chris. All those in favour? Opposed? So carried. Disclosures of interest. Does anyone have any disclosures of interest on any of the items that are before us today? That's a no. Thank you. Next up is item 6, which is on page 4 of your agenda, and that is the confirmation of the council minutes from the 20th of November 2025. Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Mikhail. All those in favour? Opposed? So carried.
Could I just clarify? In terms of this submission that we were given by the NZ, our staff dealing with Te Huia.
Workshop.
Yeah.
Yep.
Has that now come into open committee? Because it was indicated it would.
Dave, if you want to make a comment around that, that is my belief. But...
Later in the meeting, we have the Te Huia item tabled for your consideration. The part of that recommendation is to release that into the open session. So until you do that resolution, it currently remains public excluded.
Thank you for that clarification. Right, next item up is 7.1, the health and safety report. That is on page 14 of your agenda. And we go to Stu Brown.
Through Mr. Chair, just while Stu's getting settled. For those members who just got elected on the council for the first time, we didn't have a health and safety paper at the last council meeting, but our intention is to have one every time. This is to assist you to meet your commitments or expectations from a governance perspective, to have some oversight of what we are putting in place and the learnings we get from what's happening nationally and from any incidents that we have. So it is a standing item that you will expect, and it is your opportunity to ask questions as appropriate.
Yeah, thank you for that, Chris. A good point. And councillors, please be aware that there are a number of items that do affect yourself, and some of the things that we have in place in this council, you have the ability to take part in as well. So, and I'm sure Stu will touch on that just for those new councillors. Thanks, Stu.
Brilliant. Thank you and good morning. And thanks for the introduction, Chris. I guess I'll just add to that, and that I'm happy to speak to any of you on any health and safety matters or questions that you might have, and bring anything back to you in a timely manner. I'll take the report as read and take you through some of the areas of interest as we work through. You'll see under the national events, Lance Bell was prosecuted for falsifying a hazardous substance certificate. I've picked this up. We obviously have hazardous substances here at council, and we've got things like herbicides and insecticides and fungicides, and we've got pretty stringent requirements around that and how we store it, how we train people, and certification. So we feel that we are in a good position there. As we move through, you'll see the reporting trends. It's really important that we identify the events as they come around, and the trends and the near misses, and it provides us with the ability to pick up on any trends that we need to address, and also issues that we might need to look at resolving. So it's good to see that they're coming through and they're in line with what we would expect to see. Picking up on that, we use a Vault app here at council for staff to be able to report health and safety events, and we have a session plan for the ICM team when they have their back to work safely in January, just as a refresher again on using that Vault app. Moving through, you'll see under the governance section for the leadership walkarounds, the executive have health and safety walkarounds that they do each year, and we've completed 10 this year. Following the Safe Plus assessment, we have decided to increase this to 24 next year. So you'll see more of these. It's really important that we get out there, engage with the staff, and see work as said as done. I've asked Dave to bring along or to put up some pictures for me. I did a health and safety walk around in Powera probably about 6 weeks ago now, and I've just taken some pictures, and I thought it was useful to share this with you because it kind of brings to life what happens out there and what our staff are working on. This was an extremely positive experience for me. I went out with the same team probably 18 months ago, 2 years ago, and picked up some things that could be improved on, and it was a stark difference to go out and see what's been achieved now by the team. Just to talk to you about the pictures, you'll see there on the left-hand side, there's a rather large pile of weed and a rake, and that's, coming through the rivers. Obviously, the pump stations are pumping water, and that sucks weed through. The team physically have to go out and remove that. You'll see it's not a particularly good picture, but there is fall prevention there across, and that remains in place while this is being completed. Now, it would be a fairly long day to work on the rake and pull that much weed out, and it's good to know that we've got relationships out there with contractors. So when the teams see that there's large volumes of weed coming through, they can contact the contractor and get mechanical interventions so they can open up the gates and a digger can come in and clear that. But it's great to see that the fall prevention's there and being used. I'll work through the next one, Dave. This is a new pump that was installed. So this is work's been carried out in the pump stations. They have dramatically improved. The first time I went out, they were full of animal feces and they weren't secure. The pump stations, the guys have been working really hard. You can see it's quite tidy now. It's ply lined. There's real pride in their work. If you click on through to the next one, Dave, hopefully we'll see. That's an old pump, and you'll see the garden there. And if you go on to the next one, Dave, you'll see that on the back wall there, the notice board, they actually now have a schedule on how they grease the pumps. So this is good from a safety perspective because they know which aspects to access, and also from a cost benefit perspective. They now know through the monitoring of the pumps how much to grease basically in each of the bearings and areas of the pump to ensure that it survives a bit longer and we get more out of it. So that's really good just from a financial perspective. And you'll see the new unit there that electronically controls it all, which is great. They can do that remotely now, so they don't have to go out to site in severe weather events. They can operate from their phone. And if we move on to the next one, Dave, you'll see this is just a couple of areas picked up for further improvement. So there's some fall prevention that could be put around the back wall there, and you'll see that there's some gaps into the bottom of the pump. And I've talked to the guys about this, and they have a contractor installing guarding on that, and you'll hopefully have seen that in one of the previous. But I just wanted to show you some of the examples out there. And I guess the good thing for me is that historically the team would have went out to address a singular issue, but now they're very much going out with a look at the whole of site and see what they can address across the site, and they're fixing multiple things as they go out, whether that's bird proofing or bug bombing or fall prevention. They've even installed water out at the pump stations now so that they can actually clean it down and have non-slip areas, which is really good. So it's just been great to kind of see how that's progressed. I'll take you on through into the internal assurance activities. And this is really where the health and safety team is partnering with the organisation to look at, our different risks and health and safety systems to continuously improve, and also the events as they come through to support them with investigation and good outcomes. Taking you on through probably to just the EAP. This is our employee assistance, and you'll see that we're currently sitting at 12.1% utilisation for that, which is in the parameter that we operate, which is at 7 to 15. And really just to pick up again that 77% of the referrals are for personal reasons. So it's great that we're able to help people in their personal lives with that, and you can see that the breakdown of that. Yeah. Happy to take questions now.
Right, questions. Keith.
Yeah, thanks to Stuart for your presentation. Just a little bit of background. One of the things that I stood for when I stood for council was increase in efficiency, increase in productivity, and having an enabling attitude. Now, that sits in your portfolio, in my view. And what I'm concerned about is we have an attitude of safety at any cost. And so if I look at the numbers, the audit said that Waikato had a lower productivity than any other region in the country. And if we would increase our productivity by 4% in this building, that's 24 people less that we could afford to employ. And when I look at the people that were absent for sickness in the last graph that you provided, it was quite high relative to the rest of the country. So my question to you is, what are you doing to make this an enabling environment here, productive, efficient, and getting good results?
Yeah, I guess I'll come back to your first point around, it's not safety just for the sake of it. We're doing safety where it's required. I appreciate that there's been some discussion around the last sort of 18 months with fall prevention that we've been putting out there into the different areas. Some people don't support that, but ultimately we're required to, make sure that we keep our people safe, and we're doing that in a very pragmatic way. When you look at that from a cost perspective, historically, we've engaged with engineering consultancies to come and draw up plans, go away and physically manufacture, and then come out and install. We've now moved to a model where we've empowered the teams. They're now able to look at the site themselves and very cost effectively put up the fall prevention at a much greater reduction in cost. So I think that that's been a really significant improvement. From a productivity perspective, I guess, I would point to Greg really in the ICM space around that. He has his work program that he works to with the team, and we support that as best we can from a safety perspective. That's
I'll just go to Chris here.
Through Mr. Chair, if I could just say something with respect to that. So as the person probably overall primarily responsible for safety in this workplace, I would not be of a view to compromise safety productivity for the sake of it. And if any councillors have an issue with that, I think that would require a conversation with me.
Thanks, Chris. Robbie.
Yeah, I'm just going to go into a bit of detail, but I don't understand why you want to put those safety guards on those pumps when they're lockable rooms. That no one's actually in there when they're operating. They're only in there if there's a fault or it needs a service, which most probably means those panels need to come off to service it.
Yep.
So I'm looking at that pumps, looking at the floor, unless someone walks in the room and they haven't done their laces up, what's going to catch up on that pump? So to put safety guards on there, I don't think is, well, my point of view is not relevant, but it's a lockable room. No one should be in it. So I just don't understand that going to that level of protection is relevant, but I'm just putting that out there. I see you put that thing on the wall there, a grease gun to make sure it's serviced. We've got that pump station there. We've most probably spent a couple of $100,000.
We are governance, Robbie, not operation.
Pardon?
We're governance, not operation.
No, I'm doing, but it's governance as well. If how that's managed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why hasn't it gone to an electrical greasable system? That only needs to be done once a year.
Mr. Chair, I think if there's operational matters that you'd like to explore, I think that should happen through the committee, the relevant committee.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. And as an electrician that works on these sort of things, we're in there all the time. There's various reasons to have guards on there when you're working around those machinery, because you're turning them on and off, testing, doing all sorts of things. So I'd counter that claim that there's no need. Ben.
Thank you, Stu. Two things. One, there seem to be a whole lot more incidents, but I guess that's because we've got a 3-month report this time around.
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah.
Cool. And at the risk of getting into management, when we were out looking at the sites the other day, I noticed those rakes that they use to haul things up. Concerned me that the rake could fall in as well. There's nothing tying the rake back to, so that's operational.
And if you'd like to sponsor some lanyards, I'm sure the crew would be more than happy. Yeah, just picking up on Ben's point around our sites visits around the sites last week. No, very impressed with the staff rundown on the hazards that we may encounter in those areas. That was the first thing that they spoke to us about, and it was impressive to see that. And just to your point, Keith, we do over the last triennium, we got a number of incidents come before us from other organisations, other companies and stuff like that, and just outlining that risk and where health and safety and work safe will actually go with the prosecutions and stuff like that. So just echoing Chris's concern that its safety is a big piece of the operation, keeping those staff safe in that space. Just a quick question, just with the gentleman and the chemicals and stuff. Are we holding hazardous chemicals in that washdown area as to the right of the gate when we come in?
Yes.
And just thinking council is transiting through that area and stuff, so
Yep.
we have
They're all,
operations in place.
yeah, assessed and correct cabinetry for that and correct volumes down there. Yeah.
Okay. As there are no other questions, thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you. Thank you, Katarina. All those in favour? Opposed? So carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stuart. Our next item up is 7.2, which is independent members of Risk and Assurance Committee. That's on page 23. So I'll let Janine give you an outline of this.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, councillors. I'll take the report as read. I think hopefully fairly self-explanatory, really seeking direction from council in relation to the contracts for the independent members of our Risk and Assurance Committee, but of primary importance is in terms of the contract for the current chair of that committee whose contract is about to expire. I guess for me, this is a balance between a good governance practice of having a regular refresh of your independent members with the moment in time that we're standing in at the moment with the degree of change that's coming at us and whether that warrants continuity in this role or whether, say, from that rotation of advisors to you, given the length of service of Mr. Naylor, now's the time to consider going out and seeking expressions of interest in the role. If you wish to do that, we will work with you through establishment of an appointments committee to consider putting something probably through the Institute of Directors for expressions of interest, interviews and a selection process.
Thank you, Janine. I would just note that Councillor Smith has just put a piece in the chat and he is supportive of that action of going out to the market. So interested in hearing from any other councillors. Councillor Hughes.
Yeah, thanks, Chair Warren. Look, I'm in support of number one. My reasons for that is that we have got two very experienced independent members of that committee. I'm deputy chair of it, so close relationship with both of them. Acknowledging the fact that Graham has been on that committee for quite a period of time, I would support what Councillor Smith's suggesting if we knew we had some longevity in front of us. We have no certainty over that. There's a significant cost associated with going to the market and replacing them. What I would like to see, this is not a proposal that's in here, is a rotation of the chair's responsibilities. I'd like to just test that with Janine, how she feels that would fit and whether that's going to create some issues between two independent members of that committee.
So do you want to, if you could comment
so
on that, Jean, just Janine, just the mechanisms.
In terms of putting Paul in as the chair. I think we have an opportunity where we would be recontracting with the individuals anyway, and so that could be part of that process. I haven't spoken to Paul O'Connell on this because his contract's a little bit longer. I have been in communication with Graham Naylor, who is interested in continuing. I guess we would just have to have a conversation with those two members about that.
They're both high calibre. Paul's got a lot of experience, as has Graham. I have no problems with them continuing. It's just I don't think a rotation would do any harm, just bring a different perspective to the meetings, but that's just my personal viewpoint.
Thank you, Chris. So interested in hearing from other councillors. We have basically one opinion for going to market and one opinion for potentially keeping the two, and a possible rotation of those roles between the two independents. So Ben and then Jen.
I generally support what Chris says in these things. He's got expertise, but the rotation might be an option. And if that's so, it should be considered and public excluded, those sorts of.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Jennifer.
Willing to, I've been on risk and assurance. I'm willing, really appreciate both of them. Willing to explore what Chris proposed with the rotation. Saying that, also, how much would the cost be for going up to market, roughly?
Yeah, I think that 8,000, did you say? Yeah, I think the last time we did it was through IOD. I think their advertising fee is in the order of 8,000 from memory.
Yeah.
And then it's obviously staff and elected member time.
Makes sense, thanks. Yeah, because I do, at first I thought, oh yeah, with a lot of change coming, why make more change, right? But at the same time, we know that change is almost constant now. And by the time that this lot of change finishes, it might be, even a much longer tenure. And so, yeah, I'm actually inclined to lean towards the option of going out to market, but really keen to hear what others think and not wedded to that in any way, because I really do appreciate the two we've got. Just wanted to add that.
Keith.
Yeah, just on Chris's affirmation of the quality of the two people who got there, I'm quite comfortable to just roll over as it is. I don't see as any advantage of it at this stage of changing, sorry.
Again, both of them are of high calibre. I'd like to understand their approach to the transition challenges we have going ahead, though, because that is the new thing on the table, and how they might want to approach that, giving them the scope to come back to us with the best laid advice, but confident to show up to OAG or any of the transition agencies with those two advisors at their help. So kia ora.
Thank you. Any other councillors have an opinion one way or the other? So that, Angela.
Yeah,
right.
just really quickly. I guess if we did go out to market, there's nothing stopping current people applying again. So yeah, I'd probably be of the view just to see what's out there given transitions coming up.
Anyone else? Because this isn't helping our decisions. We're currently sitting about 3 for market and 4 for rotation. So
Happy to go to the market.
So
they can reapply.
Yeah, Gary.
I'll support retaining and exploring the option of changing the chair.
Liz.
I'm a rotation, listing.
Yes, yep. Extension of contract and then potential rotation of chairs. No. I've currently got 4 for market and 6 for extension.
Mr. Chair, just to note, as I say, I haven't had a conversation with Paul Connell in terms of his contract overall. So this would, any recommendation in terms of their rotation would need to be subject to confirming that he wishes to extend his contract and step into a chair role potentially.
So just for confirmation, you need a direction today for this.
It would be helpful so that I can, particularly for Mr. Naylor, given his contract's about to expire, just so I know who I need to be working with in the new year around committee establishment and the like, but to give them certainty.
Okay, well, what I'm going to do is actually take it to a vote around the room. And Dave, I'll have you.
Based on the discussion in your straw poll, I've presented a possible resolution that you may wish to consider, and that is extending the contract for the independent members as appeared in the staff report and exploring potential chair rotation, noting that a discussion needs to be had with one of the potential members. So
So we will now vote on the either support of this motion, which is the extension. And if I can have division, let's go to division. And so Dave will call the names. Sorry, right. So you're happy to move? Yeah. Happy to second. Thanks, Ben. All those in favour? Opposed? So carried. Division called. Yeah, division's called. And so this is in support of what's on in front of you there, which is the extension and the potential rotation of the chairs across the two independent members. Dave?
Can I ask a quick question before you
Yeah,
do that?
sure.
It's the rotation of potential chairs, because if I remember correctly, there's only two independents,
Yeah.
and one of them is the chair. So if you're rotating the chair, it's going to be between those two dependents, right?
Correct.
Dave?
righty ho. A division has been called. The newbies here, what'll happen is I will call the names one at a time. Can you please turn on your mics and indicate whether you support, oppose or abstain the motion? I will then record those, add them up and indicate at the end whether the motion is passed or carried. Councillor Cookson.
Support the motion.
Councillor Downard.
Against.
Councillor Dunbar-Smith. Support. Councillor Hodge. Support.
Get her on.
I'm for one. I'm not so sure. You're going to say that for rotational chair. I don't agree, but I do agree.
Your mic's gone off. Get her on.
I agree to the first. I agree to the extension. I do not agree to the extra read.
Okay, so if I could just clarify, and Janine, correct me if I'm wrong, but the terms of reference for risk and insurance state that we would have two independents and one of them would be chair. Yeah. So one of the independents needs to be chair. This is exploring the potential of whether the current chair stays as chair or it rotates to the other independent member. But yeah.
So that's not what it's saying. So be clear, Janine, is that we want the independents to stay. I'm happy with that. I'm happy to extend. Right now, we're not even looking at who the chair is. We are only asking for two independents, correct? Make up your mind then.
We're extending one contract.
And so it does. So here you should say that we report independent members to the Risk and Insurance Committee. I agree. The council extends the contract for the independent members with one of them already as chair.
So through the chair, what elected members have said is at the moment we have one of our elected independents that has a contract with us as the chair and one that has a contract with us as a member. What some councillors have expressed is they would like to consider extending the contracts but potentially changing the roles that are held by those independent members, which is where the additional text has come
through the
from.
chair then, that number 2 is correct. We should have a number 3 if we are deciding to consider changing the chair of those independents. Because I do believe you should at least have a conversation with the independents. So I agree to 2. If we are going to consider changing the chair of the independent of today, that should be a number 3.
No, but the Explore picks up that ability, and so that discussion will come back to the Risk and Assurance Committee.
Still be a number 3. It should still be a number 3 because I'm happy with both. But if you're going to explore changing the chair, it should be also a choice of us to say, yes, we agree to you to explore, or we agree for it to stay as is. You're actually taking that choice away from the councillor of the chair role.
Okay, procedurally, I'll provide a bit of advice here. We have a mover and seconder for the motion that's on the screen. We have put the motion, which indicatively is not carried unanimously, and they're in the middle of a division. So where we're at the moment is we need to know whether, as the motion appears with parts 1 and 2, whether you support, oppose or abstain as it reads currently.
And I abstain if I can't have 1 and 2. Or I'll go against number 2. So you're saying that my choice of today is either I pick 1 and 2 together because it's passed, or I abstain all up.
That's correct. So
I
you
abstain.
you abstain? Councillor Holmes,
Yep, I support the motion.
Councillor Hughes,
Support.
Councillor Ma,
Support.
Councillor Mahuta,
Against and foreshadow an amendment without the extra red bit. Kia ora.
Councillor Maguire, Councillor Nicol,
Against, I think market would have been good.
Councillor Raymer,
Support.
Councillor Smith,
I'm against, as I see it as a vote of no confidence in the chair if it proceeds.
Councillor Stolwick,
Support.
Councillor Strange.
Abstain. I think the process has been a little bit messy doing it. And
The motion is carried, 8 votes in favour, 4 against and 2 abstentions.
So, Mr. Chair, I will make contact with the independent members to discuss this resolution with them and just come back through you in the first instance in terms of if there's any issues with their interest in continuing on this basis.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you, Janine. Right, our next item before us is 7.3. That's the adoption of the 2026 meetings schedule on page 28. And I believe that's Dave.
That's me. I'm happy for this report to be taken as read. However, I will bring to your attention that arising from the workshops held earlier in the week, that we are likely to schedule a workshop sometime in between the 27th and 30th of January to discuss the RMA reform. And having dealt with the co-chairs of the Waikato Tainui Co-Governance Committee, the meeting in December was postponed, and that we will try and schedule at the same time in that last week of January. That brings us to February, where there is likely to be some changes, with the 9th and 10th meeting of council being deferred, moving it to the 25th and 26th, if required, to allow the annual plan to include considerations of decisions made by NZTA. And lastly, should we require to consult, we may schedule a meeting on the 11th of March for your approval of the annual plan to go to audit. But other than that, the calendar stands as it's presented in the agenda.
Thank you, Dave. Yeah, kia ora.
Tash has been back to me about the Hauraki scheme, because it's me and Robbie and you. She's having problems cementing the date because it's clashing with the 3 of us somewhere, Dave. So as it only affects the 3 of us, me, Robbie and Warren as the alternate or whatever, I'm happy for that to be a little bit flexible as now, if you keep talking with Ash.
I wasn't aware of that, but
Yeah, she
for
just spoke
the
to me about
record,
5
the
minutes ago.
Hauraki Scheme Subcommittee is in the calendar currently for the 3rd of March and 1st of September. So
Just thought I'd
we'll-
let you know that.
and obviously the calendar is subject to change based on meetings and other events that may crop up in the term of the calendar year.
Thank you. No other questions around the meeting schedule calendar as it stands, noting that Dave said that it is a living document, so to speak. So as we've all seen, thank you, Mikhail. Happy to move. Happy to second. Thank you, Chris. All those in favour? Opposed? So carried. We'll now take a 10-minute break between meetings. Unless councillors are happy to roll on through. Okay, yeah. 10-minute break, back at 22.
Yes.